So it's Monday, and today is the day that I'm going to start saying what is it? TGIM. You know that TGIF, like thank goodness it's Friday, that everyone says like when the week's coming to an end and they've had a terrible week working and they can't wait to get home and spend the weekend partying and lounging around and recuperating from the hard week at work. Well, for me, it's like I kind of dread Fridays because that's the last day of the week of trading, and there's no trading on Saturday or Sunday. So like for me, it's more like thank goodness it's Monday. I'm always looking forward to Monday morning because that's when trading starts to kick back up and whatnot. So anyway, I'm thinking about making like a t-shirt or a hat, or maybe even like, I think there's a restaurant. Isn't there a TGIF restaurant? Thank goodness it's Friday restaurant. Maybe I'll start a TGIM restaurant. Thank goodness it's Monday. Anyway, today we're going to take a look at an email that I got from one of my subscribers who actually made a good point. And this is to Frank. So Frank, if you're out there, this is for you, my man. And I love Frank. Frank has been on my newsletter for years, and he responds a lot of times back to us. And I always really enjoy his emails, and I just really look forward to actually getting emails from him. And this one I'm going to share today because he actually brings up a good point about the last video I made. I made a video over the weekend about a Disney earnings play that we did, and I kind of just broke the whole strategy down, like what happened day by day and like how much we wound up making and everything. And I did two versions of it in the video. One version I made, it was like a 3-day trade, and one version I made, what was it, like 0.55 I think percent return in 3 days, and then the other one I made like 2 something. I'll look it back up. I'll show you in this video. But anyway, so I got an email from Frank over the weekend regarding that video, and I just want to share it here, and because he actually brings up a really good point, something that I didn't seem to mention in the email. So it was my bad on that. But in this video, I'm going to kind of like explain it and address what he's talking about. So first of all, let's just read the email. Here's the email I got from Frank. Good old Frank. And this isn't a picture of Frank. I don't know what he looks like, but if you can send me a picture of you, I'd love it. I'm just sort of imagining that this is like Frank after he watched my last video on YouTube, and like as he just got through, as he's finishing up writing the email, like the PS. Wait till you see the PS. And like right before he hit the send to send it to me. So and again, I'm totally not flustered or upset at all. I love Frank. I don't really know him that well just from these emails, but I can totally understand where he's coming from. So here's the email he sent me. So it says, "Hey there, scammer. I couldn't help but chuckle at your latest triumph in quotations, a whopping 0.55% in one day. What's next? Breaking the bank with a 0.56% gain? You're making it tough to keep a straight face." This is great. "Look, Buster, I've seen better returns from the loose change I find under my sofa cushions. At this rate, I might as well stick my cash under the mattress or bury it in a hole in my backyard. At least then I'd be getting some exercise, some exercise digging, and probably a better return too." Keep those emails coming. I need a good laugh every now and then. Frank. Then the PS, check this out. PS, if this is your idea of a big win, in quotations, if this is your idea of a big win, I'd hate to see what you consider a loss. So anyway, another classic from Frank. And Frank, I love you, man. I really do. We got to hook up. If I'm ever in your neck of the woods or you're ever in my neck of the woods, let's hook up. We'll go out for donuts or lunch or something. And I really mean that. I really love Frank, but he brings up a good point because in the video, I said that I showed what the return was, and it was like a 0.5 return, and I think a 0.2. We'll take a look at him real quick here. So I want to explain that better because it's actually a great return. It's like a return that you probably can't get anywhere else. And so I'm just going to break it down to you. So let's go back to the trade real quick. So this was a Disney trade. It was an earnings play, and it was done over a 3-day period. So earnings was on Thursday after the market closed. The options that we used on the trade expired on Friday, and the trade was placed on Wednesday afternoon. So if you look at it like from the moment the trade was put on till the moment the options expired, it's more like a 2-day trade. It's like late Wednesday afternoon in the market, and then they expired on Friday late afternoon when the market closed. So it's actually a 2-day trade. So I kind of like even said it was 3 days, but it's actually 2 days, which makes it better. And so here's the returns that we got. So the first one here is this. It was what I'm calling the ride or die trade, and this one made 0.55% in 2 days. And then on the other one, we made 2.7% in 2 days. And so let's just kind of break that down. Like what is that annualized, first of all? So I'm terrible at math, but I have this new trusty assistant named ChatGPT, which can help me out through all this and make sure I get it right. So let's go to ChatGPT real quick. Okay, so here's ChatGPT. So I'm going to ask it, let's back up for a second. So the 0.55% is in 2 days. So that's just the return on that money in 2 days, right? And the same with the 2.7%. That's the return in 2 days on that money. So let's figure out what that is annualized, because that's pretty much like, if you look at the alternatives, what you do with your money, you can put it in the savings account at your bank. You could get treasury bonds. You could get CDs, right? Or you could put it under your mattress or dig it out in the backyard and get some exercise, as Frank said. So first, let's just figure out what those returns are on that Disney ride or die trade annualized. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT here to do it for me, because I'm terrible at math and I don't want to get this wrong, and this is just easier. So I'm going to ask old ChatGPT here. Let's see, the risk on the trade. The risk on the first trade was $7,800, right? Because the risk was I would be put Disney stock at the $78 strike. And if that were the case, I would have to buy 100 shares of Disney at 78. So we'll say $78 per share times 100 shares. One option represents 100 shares. So that equals 7,800. So that's the risk, right? So that's the risk on the first trade. And then to figure out the return on that, okay, so we made $43 on the trade in 2 days, and the risk was 7,800. So there's the return right there. 0.55. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT here to calculate what the annualized return would be. So I'll ask ChatGPT, I had a stock investment where my total risk was $7,800. In 2 days, I made $43. What is the return? Let's just do that first. What's the return? And so ChatGPT will tell us here. It's thinking, it's analyzing, it's looking at it from all different angles. Okay, so here we go. Your return on the investment of $7,800, where you made $43 in 2 days, is approximately 0.55. Okay, so we already knew that. That's what we got. So then I'll say, what is that return annualized? So the ChatGPT will figure out what this is like in an annual return. Okay, so here we go. So ChatGPT says the annualized return on your investment based on the $43 gain over 2 days from a $7,800 investment is approximately 100.61%. So annualized, that return, yeah, it's a 0.55 return in 2 days. But if you look at it annualized, at least how I look at all my other options, like a CD or a bank account savings or a bond, I look at that annualized, and I think that's fair. And because I'm looking at my money as how much I can put my money to work and how much money I can get my money to make for me on a daily basis, right? Especially if I'm trading, because the shorter the amount of time in a trade and the better the return, that's better for me, because when we annualize it out, it increases that. So that 0.55 return on Disney annualized out is a 100.61% return. And I think that's an excellent return. And Frank, I don't know if you're going to find that kind of return many other places. But let's look at the other one too. So the other one was an $84 strike, right? Was it $84? Yeah, it was an $84 put. And so on that one, I'm going to say I had a stock investment where my total risk was $8,400. And that's just assuming that I was put the stock at $84 times 100 shares, because there's 100 shares in each option, is $8,400. Okay, so this is, I had a stock investment where my total risk was $8,400. In 2 days, I made $230.50. And then, so what is the return? Let's just go through the whole process here. ChatGPT will figure out what just the basic return on that is. So the return on your investment of $8,400, where you made $230.50 in 2 days, is approximately 2.74. So that's what we had, 2.7. And so then I'll say, what is that return annualized? The annualized return on your investment of $8,400 with a gain of $230.50 over 2 days is approximately 500.79%, 500%. If you want to round up like you have to do for the government, that's 501%. But anyway, let's just say 500%. So again, I don't know where you can get that kind of a return. And the worst case scenario is that you wind up with what I consider to be a pretty good stock. And you also, once you own the stock, you have the potential ability to for it to go up and make money on it further. Or there's other things we can do too, which I want to hit in another video. Like if we were to have gotten assigned the Disney stock, that's fine with me, because in this case, I'm a hardcore Disney ride or dyer. But there's some really, really cool things you can do once you're assigned the stock. And I'm not just talking about the wheel stuff. I mean, of course, there's that, which is cool. But there's some other things that I've never seen anyone else talk about that you can do with options and stock once you're assigned, or just after you buy a stock, which I'm going to hit in another video. So just keep on the lookout for that one. And there's also another earnings trade, which I got to do a video on that one. I did another earnings trade on Disney on that same day, another strategy, which I need to make a video for. I'm kind of falling behind here with my videos, but that's a really cool, again, something that I've never seen anyone else do, and I think it's really cool. I think you're going to like it. So the one last thing here, just to kind of like make sure we're all in agreement, or I mean, if you're not in agreement, write it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Maybe like, what am I missing here? To me, the way that I look at my money is, how much can I make my money make for me? Like, how hard can I get my money to work for me on a daily basis? That's kind of like how I look at everything here. So let's just look at what the options are. So in this option, we had the ability to make 100% annualized on one of those trades. On the other one, we had the ability to make, well, actually I did. I made 500.79% annualized. These were real money trades. So 100% on one annualized, 500% on the other annualized. So let's see what the options are. What are my alternatives? So let's take a look. So let's look at Treasury Direct, treasurydirect.gov. This is the bonds. Here's the breakdown of them. They have, this matures in 2/15. So that matures in what is that? 13 weeks. And you can get 5.4% annualized. So on bonds, we can get 5.28. Let's see if we were to get, what's the best CD? Highest paying CD rate. Let's find something that we trust here. Okay, here's one. Wells Fargo 11-month CD special. 5% annual percentage yield. 5%. So you can make 5% on that money in 11 months, and you have to keep it locked up. You don't have access to it. We had access to this money 2 days later. We could do whatever we wanted with it. We made the money and we got out, and we could reuse it. In this case, if you got a CD, you had to lock up that money. You couldn't touch it to get that 5%. Let's just, what's a savings rate? What's like an average savings, like a bank average bank savings rate? I'm at Chase, and I think that it's abysmal. I think it's okay, national average savings account interest rates. The national average yield for savings accounts is 0.5%. So that's almost a perfect comparison. So we made 0.55% in 2 days on that first trade, where in this case, the alternative would be to put it in this bank, or the national average here, and make the same amount, 0.58, a little tiny bit more, in a year. All right. But I think it's a good point, and I'm glad. Thank you, Frank, for actually pointing that out, because that's something I didn't even mention in the video. I just kind of, I just forgot, or I just assumed that everyone would know that, and maybe you did. But if you didn't, that's a great way to look at it. The way that I look at my returns when I trade, or I want to break it down to an annual basis, so I can just compare it, make easy comparisons to other alternatives out there, like a bank savings account, or CD, or treasuries, or whatever. So that's it for today. And Frank, I love you, man, and keep them coming. We got to get you on like a Zoom call someday. I think that'd be great. And if you're ever in my neck of the woods, like around Los Angeles, make sure I'm aware of it. Give me a call, or send me another one of your famous emails that we all love so much. And let's hook up. Let's go out to lunch or something, or anyone out there. If you're in the LA area, you want to go to lunch? Hey, I'll take you out to lunch. just reply back to the email that you got here from, and we'll do it. And we'll go get some burgers or something. All right, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Just hit that subscribe button below, and you can also join me on my website. Just go to my website. I'll leave a link to my website in the description below. Just go over there and join me there. And that's it for today, and we'll see you next time.